time to wake up. The show is about to start. With lots of stories about poo and a bit of heart. When it comes to Joanne, no, you won't find no faults. But if you mess with the bull, you might get the Schultz. It's time for Morning. It's Morning with Bill and Joe. It's time for Morning. It's gonna be a heck of a show. It's Bill and Joe.
Wow. Gosh, this is so nice. Thank you. No, you guys stop. We have to record. Really.
This is pathological.
But how sweet is that, Bill? Everyone loves us.
It is just to watch your face light up like that. It's almost developmentally disabled. The joy you get out of a simple sound effect is concerning, frankly.
Why?
Never mind. It doesn't matter.
It's fun.
Now, even right after I've said that, you've already forgotten it. So I can say whatever. But yeah, no, that's great.
Yeah.
Just everyone focus on her expressions when she just pushes a button that makes noises. It's 2-year-old stuff, and I love it. I love it. Look, if you're happy, I'm happy.
Hey, if I'm two, then I'm two.
What that doesn't make any sense.
I don't know. I'm looking for opportunities to use these. I wish there were more. I'm sure there's a way for me to download others, but I don't feel like it.
Oh, I hope. I can't. Yes, we're all fingers crossed.
All right. It's another week. Hey, happy May.
Yeah, I guess.
Did you do anything special for May Day?
Yes, thank you to Monster Rehab, who would oddly always send us crates of stuff, if you recall, back at Compound Media. I went, as you know, I'm a big golfer. They did an event last night. Oh, gosh, I've already forgotten. 5-iron place. And it's like this club for golfers. Like, they have locker rooms and everything. And it's lots of, like, video, hitting into the video screen type things. I took the lovely and talented Samantha Judge, who I was not aware. She went to a college that was specialized in golf management. That's a major.
Oh, my God.
So she's actually played. Little Bronx girl. And she's pretty good. I just drank because it was free. But so that was very fun. We bumped into her super hot aunt, who's a publicist there.
Oh, right. Wasn't she once trying to set the two of you up?
No. I've definitely said before that I would like to hook up with her aunt. But I think...
Is the aunt married?
Huh? Yes.
Is the aunt... Okay, yeah.
Her husband was there, too.
Oh, okay.
But, you know, a girl can dream. It's one of those things, too. The place is huge. I don't really know or care about golf, but because it was a full bar, a lot of times they'll have like 1 or 2 cocktails that they're being sponsored by, and that's all you can drink. But it was a full bar, free. We were there from 6 till closing time at 9. And I therefore look the way I do because of it. But it was fun.
Wow, it was out in the sun?
Oh, I don't like working inside. Is it that bad? Yeah, it's a little red and a little
you're starting to do the jaw of a certain movie character who you are emanating. This is an awful segue. We have a really cool graphic. Wow. We have a really cool graphic of a new title you're about to receive.
Yes. I like this one because I look so cool, and I figured that way you would hate it. But look what 5 fan Matt Smith made, because now, almost 6, I've finally been asked to be a godfather.
Wow.
For one Helen Schultz.
So wait.
Oh, yes. And so we have it up there. I'm still learning.
Yeah.
Yes. And so he took it and ran with it.
So, okay. This is Alfred's kid, correct?
Good memory.
So Jonathan has 3 kids. He didn't ask you to be godfather for any of them?
I am godfather to Henry. Clearly, I'm an amazing Catholic.
Oh, okay.
I can be godfather more than once.
No, I know. It's just you seemed so excited, so I thought it was your first time.
Oh, I just thought it was cute, but also it's just so strange. And I guess it was one of those things where they were going to do the ceremony and asking me, I guess. But, you know, all of this happened during COVID. And so they just sort of sat on it. And so, like, I have this cute picture of Helen with a little board Oh, there she is. Look at that little bugger. She doesn't look like that at all anymore. And she called me to ask me if I could be her godfather. And she doesn't even really know what it is. We just ended up talking about Ghostbusters because I was right next to the New York Public Library, famous scene from Ghostbusters there. And she loved that. So she quickly got distracted from God and loved looking at the lions and where the scary librarian goes, scared them, and they're running out. She was all about that. Didn't care about the God part. But she asked me
Well,
herself, so that's a stretch, Godfather wise.
yeah, my sister didn't. I'm going to be godmother to my nephew. My sister
Push your
didn't.
applause button.
Oh, yeah. God damn it. You're right.
I can't believe I had to remind you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Do this
No,
sort of like paw, shug the sheepish head move thing.
the humility. My
Mhm.
sister didn't ask me. She said, "Hey, we're doing the baptism on this day, and you're the godmother. Can you come?" So I was like, "I'll make sure I'm available."
Did you do anything wrong? Did you accidentally drop the baby when you're dipping the head into the water?
No. So it hasn't happened yet.
Oh,
So these are all things I'm going to be thinking about. Thanks, Bill.
yeah. Oh, yeah. You could really screw up. And if you do, that's a straight ticket to hell. Doesn't matter how you've lived your life. If you drop the baby with the bathwater, the holy bathwater, you're done. Off to hell with you.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been to a few baptisms before, and sometimes these priests are just like, it's too much water. They like really dunk these kids. And I don't know. I feel like as a godmother, I'd be like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Watch out there, father.
Well, you do hate showering, so I can see this. Yeah.
I really do. Really do.
Well, congratulations to us both. Then you certainly found out a
Yes.
little sooner than I did.
Well, see, if you're the godfather, then I need to be the fairy godmother. So maybe Five Fan can do a graphic for that.
No, God. We kind of
if he
already
has
have
time.
one when you were in our Scrooged one. Well, and because I am now a new, now I have a new nephew as well, and they had to wait so long with Helen. Jonathan, and I feel like this is breaking news because I don't know if Jonathan knows yet, but I think he's going to be the godfather to Michael. So I think we're going to do the ceremony with them both together, which is weird. It's like they're twins.
Yeah, but honestly, why would you want to schedule two? If you got to do two, do it at the same time. Nice, Bill. Just lighten up during our broadcast.
I used to
here.
smoke
Very
outside,
good.
and I've kind of given up.
So you also recently went to a Whole Foods, is that correct?
Yes. By the way, I don't know if you got my reply, but the text that you sent me with regards to our show planning, I promise you, no one has ever sent that text in the history of texts. The combination of words between Godfather and what we're about to talk about, no one's ever sent that text in the history. So be proud.
Thank
Where's
you.
your applause?
No, I was saving it for the reveal.
Okay, go ahead.
I was saving it for the reveal of the image.
Okay,
now,
so how do you want to do this?
Well, the image we'll be putting up, but first explain what you were. Do you do your shopping at Whole Foods? Like, why were you there, or were you just using their bathroom?
Especially considering our current economic situation. No fucking way. I never shop at Whole Foods, but sometimes you got to use the facilities.
Yeah.
And the thing about Whole Foods, at least the one in Bryant Park, I believe all of them to be the same. Most places in New York, you have to have a code. But with Whole Foods, there's always a line, so you just grab the thing when they're done, and you don't need to do the code. Well, I went in there, and I normally 9 times out of 10 either roll my eyes, am offended by, or kind of go, to graffiti in New York. It's never clever. It's never interesting.
Yeah.
And in this case, it never makes you think. But I got one. This is a think piece, Joe. If you want to throw it up there, I could get your thoughts. Because
all right, here it is.
I have a lot. Yes.
Putting it up right now. There you go. Wow. Yeah. So now, Bill, you took a picture of this. You tweeted it.
Yes.
But it makes it seem like you were the one who wrote it.
I don't think people think I'm that interesting. How did I word it where people would think it was me? Because I said I was I was tracking down the actual ass eater. like a good reporter, like a journalist.
Yeah, you tweeted, I'm currently in talks with the Ass Eaters people regarding an exclusive. But that is exactly what the Ass Eater would say to make it seem like they didn't write it themselves.
Well, actually, that's a good point. Boy, I better do a retraction real quick.
Yeah.
Shit, that's not going to get me a new job. Oh, this guy's a public bathroom ass eater. I'm not going to hire him. Well, as you can imagine, and look, Pete, there's all types of shapes and sizes in New York. As far as our wonderful tableau of citizens are concerned, it's not a big bathroom, for starters. And last I checked, ass eating is a 2-person job, or 3 if you're adventurous. Second, it's a bathroom.
Yeah.
I have so many more, and also, as you can see by the graffiti, I love the little smiley face, like, oh, I'm bad, that they add at the bottom of this.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on there, and I've been thinking about it for way too long.
Okay, so let's say this did happen. Someone did, in fact, have relations in this bathroom.
Relations.
Do you write the graffiti immediately after?
Yes.
Or you were going about your day, maybe a few weeks, a few months, perhaps a year later, and nature calls and you're sitting down and you go, oh, wait, this bathroom is familiar. Oh, yes, this is the one. I got to write it down. So the next time I'm here, I know immediately this is where it happened.
All of these thoughts were going through my head for way too long. It's like me with musical earworms. I was thinking about this throughout the entire golf outing last night. There's so many questions, and the graffiti answers none of them. I think to your point, definitely. I think after all I assume you could get lockjaw or something like that, particularly in a confined space. I assume after all was done and the ass eating was completed, although how do you ever complete ass eating? I feel like it's an ongoing thing. That he came back. I'm assuming it's a dude because just women are not this piggish. That he came back and he had a sense memory and decided, well, I've got a crayon here. I might as well.
Yeah.
I might as well let the world know what I've done.
Were there other graffitis in this bathroom, or was this the solo piece of art?
That's why it stuck out to me. Yes.
Interesting. Also makes me wonder if they routinely cover up graffiti. And if so, what other sex acts were disclosed on these bathroom walls?
All of which I had to think about during my Whole Foods constitutional. So, I mean, again, it gave me a lot of food, which you shouldn't do before ass eating, by the way, people. Try to have, if you're planning ass eating later on in the day, I guess if you're the receiver, maybe stick with a liquid diet or not.
Well, and I just wonder, of all the bathrooms in New York City, Bill, you know a lot of them, a lot of the public restrooms.
Yes, ma'am.
Which do you think would be most appropriate for ass eating?
Well, for starters, that is a great question. And this is the thing that I talk about, burying the ass eating lead. This is a unisex, a bunch of stalls, men, women, children. It's weird. Yes. I was in there with moms and their kids in stalls right next to me.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And the problem.
Weird.
Yeah. And so that brought a whole lot of other things to the table. I'm assuming it was a late night transaction, but that's like an Ally McBeal type rows of unisex bathrooms. So to answer your question, I would say it would be a what's the politically correct term now? Can we even say handicapped anymore? A person of different needs bathroom where it's solo, possibly a hotel. That if I had ass eating predilections, that would be my go-to. Not a Whole Foods that is unisex and there are people in line.
Yeah, I didn't realize. I thought it was sort of like a Starbucks solo occupancy kind of a
Even that's
thing.
problematic for
Eh.
both with the coffee, nature's laxative, and there's still a lot of people in the Starbucks. They're not big. That's the other
Well,
thing
and
about the
there's always a
handicap bathroom.
line.
The handicap bathrooms are big, and again, I don't know how these two people could have fit in this thing.
Yeah.
I was less disgusted and more impressed.
All right. Well, Bill, you got to keep investigating.
Thank you. Well, now I have to retract because I think everyone thinks that I guess I was the receiver. There's got to be terminology for all of this that I'm missing. I don't know how they did it. I have
Not
some ideas. I think one of them might have been like, I don't know, standing on the top part of the. It's a lot.
Yeah. All right. Well, you think about it more, and next week we'll do a follow up.
No, the whole point is I want you to think about it now for like the rest of the week.
I mean, if I use a public restroom, you know I'm going to.
Yes. Well, by the way, can I add one other thing? I don't know if you remember this. There's a great, I'll certainly plug it for millions of viewers. There's a great bar near me called Strange Love, a little punk bar at a place where you shouldn't find a punk bar in East Midtown, Turtle Bay for the locals. And they kind of encourage graffiti. Place is covered in it. And at one point early on Morning, I was like, I'm going to do some guerrilla marketing. And I wrote, watch Morning with Bill and Joe. I think you were upset with me because I put your Twitter address on it because these both our Twitter addresses in the bathroom. And then I had compoundmedia.com and I completely forgot about it. Fucking Keith the cop, like a year later, sends me a pic. He's like, hey, check this out. And I don't think I ever told him that I'm the one that wrote it, but he was in that bathroom and saw the graffiti.
That's so great because it's like, wow, they have a huge fan base. It kind of goes all over.
Me. I'm like, hey, must be catching on.
Wow. Wow. Good for us. Well, I'm glad you had a very full week. I have a late to the game.
Love it.
Basically, I decided to watch a movie, and there's so much out now that typically what happens is I go on Netflix, I scroll, I'm overwhelmed, so I end up watching something I've already seen or a murder documentary, which I've already seen. So I actually watched something I haven't seen before.
Okay.
But it came out a few years ago. It's called The Good Nurse, starring Jessica Chastain and Eddie Redmayne. And it is based on a true story, which is terrifying. This guy, he was a male nurse, Charlie Cullen. He basically he has admitted to killing 29 patients, though it's likely it was 40. And some investigators think it could have been up to 400 patients during I think it was 9+ years.
How have I never heard of this?
That he was a nurse. And Bill, he was a nurse in New Jersey and Pennsylvania. So it was right in our neck of the woods. Basically, he was using insulin and another drug, injecting it into saline bags and killing people. Now, here's the worst part. We have no reason for it. In all of his interviews, he never said why he decided to do it, which is sort of the worst. I mean, obviously the deaths are the worst part, but like you always want to hear that there's some reason, even if it's a psychotic reason, they are justifying why they've done it. Nope. He never said why.
Just bored.
Just that he did. So the movie is really great. I love Jessica Chastain. She is so awesome. So if you haven't watched it, highly recommend.
Oh, that doesn't sound like a recommendation for me. I've told you a million times I've turned into my mom. And to quote Deborah Schultz, at this point in my life, I only like watching nice things. This is not a nice thing. And if everything you said is accurate, that's a big if. Then he is the most prolific serial killer in the world, in the history.
Yeah. He's
how have I never heard of this?
He was a nurse for 16 years. And here's the issue. These mysterious or unexplained deaths were happening at hospitals. And then hospitals would let him go, but I guess the hospitals didn't want to face any legal issues because of it. So they would just get rid of him for whatever reason. And then he would get a job at another hospital.
You know,
he was arrested in 2003.
oh, well, that's relatively recently.
Yeah.
That's
so
bad shit.
yeah.
Well, and you know,
Nuts.
you always have one or two relatives that just hate doctors, won't go for anything, no matter how bad they're suffering or anything like
Yeah.
that. Well, this just adds fuel to the fire for them.
Yeah.
They can just immediately go to this and be like, "This is why I don't." And oh my
Yeah.
god, that
Or
is
like not
wow.
trusting nurses.
And this movie just came. Oh, I'm sorry, it didn't come out. It came out like last year. I've not heard of the movie either.
I think it was 2 years ago, like 2022.
Joe, I'm
Yeah.
no studio bigwig, but I would say that perhaps they might want to workshop the title. I would say on paper, this does not sound like a good nurse. In fact, quite the opposite.
No. So Eddie Redmayne plays the bad nurse. Jessica Chastain is the good nurse. She's the
Okay.
one who ultimately gets him to confess to this.
Wow, this is I'm embarrassed. I
And
haven't heard of
she's
this.
based on a real person too. It's a great movie. I do recommend. Although if you are super paranoid about medicine and hospital systems, maybe don't watch it.
I have just speaking of my mom, who again only likes nice things. I just found out recently she's a cabaret fan, which doesn't really fit with Deborah Schultz, but she's very excited to see Eddie Redmayne playing in cabaret right now in Broadway. How does he play this guy? Does he play him where immediately you're like, something's up with him? Or is it one of those serial killers, and that's kind of what he is, where you would never know, completely nice and lovely, that type of thing?
Yeah, nice, lovely, helpful. Eddie Redmayne's American accent is so good.
Well,
Gosh, he's such a good actor. But there are little things, and again, I don't know if this is what actually happened or if this was just creative license for the telling of the story, but he reveals to Jessica Chastain's character that his wife separated from him and took the kids. The wife is just being ridiculous and saying he poisoned the dog. What? Turns out in real life he did. He
of course,
poisoned
yeah.
their dog, abused their animals, which is a clear sign of
It
someone who's a
always starts with
sociopath.
yes.
So, but if I were his coworker and I heard that, granted, I'm always on high alert, I would
Yeah.
be like, this guy's a serial killer. Better watch out for him. So
About anyone that hurts animals. I mean, you would always grow up with there'd be a certain kids in grade school that would love to like throw frogs. We had a lot of frogs and toads in the Midwest against the wall, or I don't like mice, but like, just would randomly kill those things. And even then, before I knew that was a trait of serial killers, I'm like, there's something wrong with this person. Like the idea that anyone would want to hurt a defenseless animal. I mean, we've talked about it a million times before, but like when Jeffrey Dahmer was very young, strangely, there was this unexplained phenomenon of crucified animals in his neighborhood. And then, of course, we found out it was later him, where they would literally be like nailed to telephone poles and things like that. And of course, it ended up being Dahmer. But boy, yeah, that's a sign.
yeah, you make fun of me for not liking animals, but at least I don't fucking murder them.
As far as I know.
Well, hey, speaking of animals, how about let's bring back one of our best segments.
Oh, I gotta
That's nature.
Down syndrome, tiger and a two-headed goat. Oh, Bill's getting eaten alive. Bill's getting eaten alive. But Joe just shrugs because that's nature.
Let's start with alpaca sex.
Yes.
Because, while you were in that Whole Foods bathroom, obviously your mind goes from ass eating to alpaca sex, as it does.
Yes.
Turns out alpaca sex is, quote, so weird, says this writer at IFL Science.
My favorite.
So
ones.
they are the only mammal we know of in which the penis enters the uterus to directly deposit sperm. Apparently, it's a reproductive strategy that's never been confirmed in any other mammal before. And new research suggests it may help the kinky camelids' chances of
Love
pregnancy.
it.
You know, I never thought I'd say the phrase kinky
You've
camelid.
seen a lot of things for the first time on this one.
Truly. So it's known as intrauterine insemination.
Oof.
Apparently, species thought to do this include horses, mice, rats, and ferrets.
Typical.
Or wait, is that the normal way? Yeah.
Half the reason that I sent that to you is because I was hoping you might be able to explain it to me. Because I still don't understand it. I loved the headline. Thank you to Jonathan Schultz for sending it to me. Always on top of all things alpaca sex. I didn't understand it. I didn't know what they meant by like inseminate. I mean, it all ends up in the uterus, right? Is he bypassing a lot of roadblocks here? I do not get it.
I think typically, I went to public school, so sex ed most likely failed me.
Clearly.
But basically, those little spermies, they got to swim. They got to swim up there. But it seems like for alpacas, the sperm, it's, they're already in the pot. They can just hang out.
Excellent impression of alpaca sperm, by the way.
Thank you. They're lazy.
I know you've been working on that.
Yeah.
I guess you're right. Yeah, and goes back to what we've talked about a million times before. It's mostly rape in nature. I just can't help but think, in the way that they describe this, that this is even remotely fun for the female alpaca, and I doubt she's doing it with consent.
Well, I decided to YouTube videos of alpaca sex.
I love you.
I was going to share one, but here's the issue. It's boring. It is so boring. The two videos I watched, it's truly just the man on top of the woman. She's like laying down.
It's lazy.
It's missionary. No, she's laying down and he's like making a grunting sound, but not like there's no movement. There's no movement. He's just stationary on top of her.
They've been married for a while.
I guess so.
Yeah.
So if you're curious, you can look that up yourself, folks. But there you go. They appear to be the only mammal that does that, at least for now.
I wonder if they do the ass eating, particularly in alpaca public bathrooms, which I guess is everywhere.
I would imagine.
I'll do some research on that.
But alpacas have a lot of hair, so I imagine it's difficult to find.
I like you imagining it. By the way, I'm sexist because the whole time I assumed that it was two methed out dudes that were doing the Whole Foods ass eating. But I do have a friend that who's newly single, and good Lord, she's been adventurous. And indeed, that is one of the acts she has done at a public bathroom. And I was very surprised by this because it's not the type of person that you would think would do such a thing with someone that she doesn't even know that well. I'll tell you what, it's a bold new world out there that I am not a part of. But
I don't know.
Well could have been a girl.
I just think if you are of a certain socioeconomic status, not only do you not need to do that in a bathroom, but you shouldn't. You shouldn't. Because it would be like taking food from a food bank when you don't need it. Leave the bathroom sex to people who need to use the bathroom for sex. If you have a home and you don't live with your parents, you don't need to do that. So leave it for those who do.
Yo, this is very typical you, Joanne. That I think that's kind of the thing. It's the illicit. We shouldn't be doing this. This is for the homeless thing. That I would venture to say that whoever did that wonderful graffiti is probably a multimillionaire. Probably doubtful, but
I don't know. I think, and I understand it. Some people, to get their rocks off.
Sure.
What's the phrase?
No, that's it.
Socks off.
Now you ruined it.
Anyways, it's for people who can't afford to jump out of a plane. It's like, ooh, what's risky? What's risk taking? And it's like, bungee jumping feels dangerous. It's expensive. So let's just go to Whole Foods, but we're not going to buy the food. Again, too expensive. How did we get back here? How did we get back to talking about this?
Get used to it. Here's my goal from me. I will in some way try to relate every story back to ass eating, no matter how far off in the distance it is from the subject at hand.
All right. Well, let's see if you can do it with this next That's Nature. Apparently, there are coyotes in New York City, and one was recently spotted in Central Park. Let's play a video.
I didn't think coyotes got that big. Especially, you got to be small to hide in Central Park.
Yeah, well, also, it was kind of at a regular, it was early, but it was after 7 a.m. Like, there are people exercising and around. I'm shocked that the coyote would want to be around sort of business that's happening. But Brett Cone, let's call him, was running in Central Park along the 72nd Street Traverse toward the Ramble on 7 a.m. Saturday when he spotted what he initially thought was an off-leash dog.
I would have thought the same thing.
Yeah. Meanwhile, okay, so again, first thoughts when that happens, I would immediately I would get angry. I would be like, who is the asshole owner of this dog that's letting their dog off leash? You're not supposed to do that in public parks in New York City. Meanwhile, I would just be angry as opposed to being scared, like this coyote is going to rip my tits off.
Yeah. Would have been such a better tagline. That is true about coyotes, by the way, ladies. Be careful. They go right for the tits. Your reaction to the coyote would have been the same. I don't even remember what they did that pissed you off, but you were like a laundromat and somebody put too much stuff on the seats and you were just angry about that for the rest of the day. Was it, they had a dog or something?
They let their dog sit on the chair.
Yes, that's it. Yeah.
It's a dog. You want to bring it in there? Fine. I'm like still pissed about that because you're probably getting dog hair in an area that should be clean for clothes, but whatever, leave it on the floor. On the seat, like people sit on those seats while they're waiting for their laundry.
You know what else people do on seats?
Eat ass.
Yes. I love our themes. They're always organic. But yeah,
anyways.
But here's the cool thing. So in the article, and it was a news article, so brief, it does not seem to me that animal services, whatever department of police handle this shit, they're not going to get rid of this coyote. Coyote is minding its own, and I agree. I think that the coyote has every right to be there. Hopefully it'll kill some rats that any other animal does. Normally when you see stuff like this, particularly in an urban area, they go out of their gourd. They go around with their little like stun darts and try to get that thing out of there as quickly as possible. Leave the coyote alone, man. That's awesome. I hope there's more coyotes in Central Park. There's too many other feral things there that
there is apparently coyotes that live in every New York City borough but Brooklyn.
Why? It's so weird that they're in Manhattan but not Brooklyn.
Yeah, I don't know. Coyotes apparently they've been spotted in the city for generations. And may have descended from one group in the Bronx.
Aren't we all descended from one group in the Bronx? My nieces are.
A rep from New York City Parks Department told the Post, "We have no reason to believe this particular coyote is unhealthy or poses a threat to human safety." No reason to believe. That's interesting phrasing. Like, they're not a threat to human safety, to public safety, until they rip my tits off. You know?
Well, I'll tell you one thing that I do agree with them on is it's definitely not unhealthy. That thing looks like it's half wolf. I mean, I've never seen a coyote that big. Like, you would think in a city they'd be extra small. One place in New Jersey, near Princeton, apparently there are so many deer that they're a little malnourished, and they're all about the size of goats. And that's still not a city, but I guess coyotes are huge in New York. At least that one was.
Yeah. I guess, yeah, and I don't even know why. I don't know enough about coyotes to be able to
My
tell
dad
you.
loves them. He's obsessed with coyotes because he thinks they're very smart, and I don't know. They don't like them in LA, I know, which is another urban area that's got stuff like mountain lions.
Yeah.
Because what does everyone in LA have?
A
When
car.
they're not ass eating, they have a little tiny dog. Everyone's got
Oh, dogs.
and what do the coyotes do? They just maul them. And good for the coyotes, I say. To sum up.
I thought you were going to say everyone has a car, and so they're just like accidentally running over coyotes.
I'm sure there's that too.
Because remember, isn't that how their beloved mountain lion died?
Yes. Well, I know it was
got hit by a car.
I'm sure it was car related. Yeah.
Yeah.
P12 or whatever the hell it was called. But yeah, everyone was very sad about that. And the problem with those mountain lions too is that there aren't that many of them, even though they are very popular. So they all believe they're products of incest, which makes sense. And so that's why I hope that there's a lot of coyotes out there to sort of mix up the Central Park coyote DNA. If it's just a couple coyotes, after a couple generations, they're going to have like two heads. That's how it works, you know?
Yeah. Well, speaking of the future, here is an AI FYI.
AI, FYI, Bald Robot Joe will make you die.
I hope everyone just enjoyed our AI song. Yes, that song. And all of our songs were done by AI and facilitated by our friend 5Fan Photoshops. Thank you so much. Okay, speaking of New York City and panic, apparently panic rooms are a huge thing now, especially amongst the wealthy, because guess what? They cost a lot of money to make. Bill Rigdon is one of the guys who can build you a panic room. This is a great quote, Bill. I once had a Fox News reporter who had a whole plan for a basement bunker where 13, 14 people could stay for a period of time. But there was no bathroom. Rigdon would neither confirm nor deny the client was Roger Ailes. Now, here's why I don't think it was Roger Ailes, because he said it was a Fox News reporter.
Very good, yes.
And like everyone knows what Roger Ailes looked like, or so I would assume. Also, why would Roger Ailes want 13 or 14 people in there?
Yes, doubtful. And also Roger Ailes would not forget a bathroom. The guy looks like he spent a lot of time in them. Perhaps.
Fair. Ass eating. Who do you think it was, Bill? Who do you think the Fox News reporter was?
The wheels are spinning. My nominees, I also would not call reporters, but I think this guy probably would use the term fast and loosely. I'm thinking of on-air personalities that have shows that no one would call a reporter. Off the top of my head, one rhymes with panfanity. That was the first one I thought of.
I was thinking schmanity. That's so funny.
The other would be a former one, Schmuckel Schmarlson. I thought of him. It's funny, no woman came to mind because this is just something a woman would not ask for because they're, in this case, better than us gender-wise. God, there's one other one there's an obvious one that I'm missing. And it would probably, again, it could have been a Schmil O'Reilly if this was a while ago. I'm missing a big one.
What about Schmoosey?
Like Shmushan Schmott? She's not a reporter.
Oh, wait, no. Of the father and son team, Schmoosies.
Oh my God, yes. But
maybe?
When your last name is Schmoosey, you'd think you'd remember a toilet.
Yeah.
When you're taking a poopy.
So there are a lot of people in New York City who are fashioning different parts of their home into safe rooms if you're not doing a bunker. Apparently, Gwyneth Paltrow was said to have a safe room in her former West Village Greek Revival townhouse. Although a spokesperson later said she just stored her clothes in it. So sort of to your point, that's not really why women come to mind for you.
No.
It's, we just use it. We just want another closet that no one can steal our stuff from.
What do they entail exactly? Is it one of those things where you just push a button and it becomes a fortress? I'm like, I never saw the Jodie Foster movie.
Okay. So some of them, a luxury apartment can take $1 million to fortify. The materials are pricey. Fortified doors can weigh thousands of pounds. They often come with bulletproof night vision gear, food, and medical supplies. But here's something that they do. They can be done to be facial recognized. So you don't need a key or a keypad. It can be you. You can have, if you have assistants, their face. So it's all that facial recognition software now that can just make these then doors close and lock, and only those who have facial access can access.
They must have better technology than on my phone, because anytime I shave or get a haircut, it doesn't work. It doesn't recognize me anymore. I'm like, so how futuristic are we?
Yeah,
right
see, I'm always shocked when I'm wearing sunglasses. My phone still recognizes my face.
Because the sunglasses are as big as your cartoonishly large eyes. So it's one or the other.
Which, by the way, I'm always shocked when I'm on the sidewalk. I don't look in people's eyes. If I see people I know, I avoid them. When I'm wearing sunglasses and someone who knows me passes me and goes, "Joanne," I'm like, how did they know it was me? I'm wearing sunglasses. But I guess to your point.
Oh, speaking of recognizing, you haven't thanked me for the wonderful present I gave you last week, as far as making a cameo and recognizing you immediately at your place of work. Wow, were you annoyed? That was I don't think that was about as angry as you might get if you spotted a coyote in Central Park.
Here's what happened. I was bartending at a restaurant that we don't name because I don't want any of you to show up, because I dislike serving people, but it's my job. And we got a late pop, which doesn't often happen. But as a result, I had a lot going on. And then Bill decides to open the door and yell into the restaurant, "Joanne Goodhart should be fired."
Yes.
To which every person who's mid-conversation eating turns to look, then turns to look at me. My manager comes out of whatever they were doing and I have to reassure everyone, I know this person, it's okay. But Bill, in New York City, where people are buying panic rooms because they're so panicked about strangers and mental instability and, I don't know, assaults, you doing that is not exactly a lovely, peaceful dining experience for others. So that's the reason why I was like, great. But it didn't affect my tips, so we're okay.
I thought it would help your tips because people would feel bad for you. You're welcome.
Yeah, I mean, if they felt bad for me, it's because in my conversations with them, I'm like, poor me, please pity me. So I didn't really need your help, but thanks.
A little extra never hurts. Yeah. Well, I'm never in that area. And you had mentioned that you were working at that time. And I'm like, well, I'm like right here. So I got to do something. And you're welcome.
Yeah. Anyways, that's all the time we have for today. Bill, any last thoughts, any last theories, any last bathrooms you want to share?
If you're going to share a bathroom for all things analingus, is that a term? Guys, like do a handicap bathroom in a hotel, something, but public bathroom, particularly unisex. That's just, come on,
Yeah.
Let's be adults here when it comes to the ass eating. Look at this.
Yeah.
Remember these guys?
And now for the best moment of the show.
That's debatable.
Okay, so I did mention, but want to say again, thank you to 5 Fan Photoshops for the delightful audio tracks that have been added to our segments. We're also going to be doing a new intro song, thanks to AI, for every episode. And let me know which one you like best, because then it might just be our permanent one. And we'll see you next week. Bye. Bye.